Hey everybody, welcome to another special edition of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am Jeff.
And we are here. GenCon Day 3 has finally wrapped up.
Our latest record start yet.
Yep.
And we are
2:41 in the morning.
Super exhausted. Well, I don't know about you guys. I am super exhausted. This is the tiredest I think I have been in quite some time.
I'm fine.
I'm actually okay as well.
Yeah.
I was super hungry because I hadn't eaten since breakfast, but otherwise,
Oh
Slash
man.
brunch.
yeah.
When we finish up here, I'm going to finish my little bit of packing, and then I am hitting the pillow so hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to wake up again. You guys might have to just carry me into the van.
No,
and then
if you
leave
don't
me
wake-
there while you go
No,
do
if you don't
convention
wake up,
stuff.
then we'll just leave you here. We just
I mean-
assume you're dead.
Oh, okay.
I could drag him downstairs.
That would probably wake
Like,
me up.
Yeah, just head.
It would wake me up, but then I would have a concussion, and then you'd have to keep me awake.
Yes.
I just be like, here's some sleepy time tea. If you drink it, it's your choice.
So today, this morning, I woke up the first time for the entire weekend. I was the first one of the three of us awake. Aunt and David woke up before everybody because they had to go play Blood Bowl. And then when I woke up, I believe Paul was in the shower and Wes was getting dressed. Everyone else was asleep. Jeff was pretty well passed out on his little
Single
couch
pull-out, which
thing.
is the smallest pull-out I've ever seen in my life.
tiny. Zach was... I wasn't sure Zach was alive. I thought maybe the air mattress of death consumed him.
The corpse stain is growing closer every evening. The darkness encloses.
It brings me deeper and deeper.
And luckily I was able to wake up because if I hadn't, I don't know what would have happened.
I had an alarm.
Okay.
You were
Yeah.
sleeping on.
I was literally sleeping on my phone, but it was 9:40 is when my alarm went off.
Well, since I woke everybody up after 10 and then was like, guys, we need to leave in like
Now.
mere minutes.
Yeah.
Because we have an interview at 11.
Yep.
Luckily we were able to herd all the cats and everybody got in the van and we got on the road.
Yes.
And we made it, and we got our first interview done at 11, which is with Cosmos. Mm-hmm. There's no audio from that one. That one was just them kind of showing us all their games and stuff. Jeff took some awesome notes. I took some pictures.
You would not have been able to hear anything.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of the convention hall.
Yeah.
Cosmos publishes the Exit games, which were the Kenner Spiel des Jahres winners, game of the enthusiast game of the years.
Yep.
They showed us a little bit of the next three that are going to be coming out later this fall.
We've got Polar Station, Forgotten Island, and Forbidden Castle.
Yes.
And I like the way she described them. It was Nicole from Cosmos. She's like, Polar Station, there's a lot of locked doors and you need to get the helicopter. The Forgotten Island, there's a lot of locked doors and you need to escape the island. And then Forbidden Castle, which is actually going to be the hardest. There's going to be some more puzzle-like elements and be a medieval setting.
Yeah.
They're also going up in price to $15 each. I think they're right now running like $12.
Sounds
Well, I
MSRP.
think their MSRP is still 15, but you can regularly find them on Amazon for
Okay.
12. Although, since they won Kenner Spiel, I think they are increasingly flying off the shelves.
They had 100 a day and
Yeah.
were sold out in the first 30 minutes each day.
Yeah. I remember a few weeks ago when I was doing all the wedding stuff, when we went to Michigan, I bought a copy of the Egyptian Exit game for Megan's sister for her birthday because she really likes escape rooms and she really likes board games. And so I picked that up for her. I was going to get her the Abandoned Cabin, which is the one I have played at HeavyCon. It was already at that point up to $25, and that was before it won Kenner Spiel. So, yeah, the prices are going to be high. They're going to be hard to find for at least a little while until stock kind of catches back up with that.
They said they were holding back stock from their store and being like, sorry, we're sold out, so they could bring it to GenCon.
Correct.
Yeah.
A little bit more on those new ones that are coming out for the themes. The Arctic Station one is apparently there's an alarm, like something's wrong, and your entire rest of your team flees, and you're left behind locked in. I'd have to find the way to unlock all the doors and get out to the helicopter. The Forbidden Island one, you're swept off a ship in the middle of the night and awaken on an island that has a bunch of locked doors and treasure chests and things like that. A lot of locked doors that you need to unlock. And then the final one is you're touring a medieval castle, and the door's closed behind you, and you're locked in. So there's a
medieval like setting, like time.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But yeah, so she just showed us all of those. They also went over a few of their other games that they currently have available.
Well, one thing I want to say before that, she was actually saying like the new exit modules will have difficulty ratings on them because a lot of people
yes, that's right.
are like, oh, you should probably do it in this, and then this one because it's the hardest. So these ones are now on. It's like the first two are difficulty of 3 out of 5, and the what was the last one?
I think it was only 4 out of 5.
Yeah, no, the last one was 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it did show that it was harder. So.
Right.
They're also doing that on all of their games now, where it'll be like dots for like how much hand management and variable player powers, or
But it's
this is a party game.
Yeah, it's
and-
related to the actual game, so not all of them are going to say, what's the rating of party game?
Yeah, like that one game was like party game 4 stars, word game 4 stars,
5 out of
guessing
5.
game 4 stars.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
But I thought that was really cool. I haven't seen anyone like try and break down mechanics in a game before and like be like, this is how much luck is in this game. Mm-hmm. And if it's anything over 1, Adrian will be like, well, into the fire it goes.
Correct.
Yeah.
If it's anything over 2, it goes into the fire. If it's anything over 1, if it's just 1. Wait, no, I'm doing this wrong. I don't know.
The
I'm too
lower,
tired.
the less luck there is.
Yes. Yes. So anything at some point. Yeah, I don't know. I'm too tired. Whatever. Moving on.
Kerala was a kind of platform, color matching, tile movement,
With
meeple
elephants.
placement, stacking elephant game. Which actually looked pretty cool.
That was of most of the ones they showed us. That was one of the ones I would be the most interested in. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it had some interesting mechanics. It seemed like it.
Reminded me of Santorini. You have 2 meeples, and you can kind of move one and like take tiles and move tiles.
And you have to place the tiles next to one of your meeples.
Yeah.
And then they all had to match the color of their
Yeah.
type to make big platforms, like the city building Japanese with the sand and
Honshu.
Yes, Honshu.
Yeah.
Where they have to overlap a little,
Yeah.
but they don't have to overlap. They can overlap. Whereas Honshu, they must.
Because there's a bunch of different colors, but anything outside of your color, you can only score one patch of land for. So any of the other ones, you have to try and link them back up.
Yeah.
And that was the one that had there's like a victory point pool for each type of like victory point thing, but if everyone takes them, it only matters how many are left in there, how many on your board each thing is worth.
Yes.
So if there's 3 left in a certain pool, those are each one of those points on your board is going to be worth 3 each. But if there's 0, no one gets anything.
Yeah.
So you're trying to like get the pool not quite empty.
And you don't want to just be like, I'm just going to build the biggest purple spot ever, and then everyone's like, well, we'll just take all the purple ones, and now that's worth nothing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on your giant 0.
Yeah. Well, and then if you're getting beat real bad in a certain area, like and everybody else has a fair amount of them, you can be like, all right, well, I'm going to take that last one, so all of those you have are worth 0 instead of 1 each or something. Yeah.
But that's the different game, and not Kerala.
Oh.
Brutal Kingdom is the one with the victory point one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, Zach, you threw me off when you started talking about it.
Anyway,
Yes, so that's
Kerala
Brutal Kingdom.
is yes, Kerala is just the elephant tiling one. We went through Word Slam, word guessing, 1-word cards, and then red herring clues from other players. That one seemed like very codenamey.
Jesus, we're all way too tired for this.
Uh-huh.
Red Herrings was from Crosstalk.
No, red herrings were in Word Slam.
They were?
Yeah,
How do you indicate when someone's a red herring?
because the other person is giving you clues. Like, it's like crosstalk where you can give clues to each other, but the one person is also not trying to give you the perfect clues because they're on the other team. Yeah. Similar, yet different. And then I guess a big new one was Brutal Kingdom.
Yes.
Which,
that was the one with the weird victory points that become worth less and less the fewer there are in the pool.
yes, strategic card game like King's Court, we didn't see that one too much, but that was their new game. And while we were there, I saw a bunch of people buying it, so it must have been pretty popular.
Yeah. They are also going to be reprinting Pillars of the Earth, and another game that's by the same kind of designer.
A Column of Fire. Legends of Andor.
And then the new Legends of Andor expansion / standalone.
Expandalone. They didn't have. They were just newer.
Yes.
They weren't real boxes. They were just sort of like, these are 3 things that we're doing
that are coming soon.
And they're both of those were, or I guess all 3 of those, by the end of the year, I think.
Yeah, and they gave us a press sheet with a lot more details that we're going to go over more, and we'll do a little bit more actual sit-down research when we get back home and be able to talk a little bit more knowledgeably about all of these games when we're not exhausted at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But we wrapped up with Cosmos.
Yeah, we ended it by talking a bit of like, how fast is Exit really selling? And that's where they were like, almost immediately every time.
Yeah,
and then she was like, did you want a copy? Like, is that why you're asking? We're like, no, we're
just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, we would, if you just threw one at us, we would catch it, but we're not gonna say no. I mean, we're not gonna be like, please give us one.
Yes. So after that, we had some time to just kind of wander around the hall. We took a look at some other stuff. Did we play Crosstalk then?
No, that was
later.
That was a little bit later.
Yeah. Then
we went to get food.
We got ourselves not avocado toast, but it was on the menu.
You went away,
and we were very tempted to order it for Jeff. We wanted him to have a bunch of avocado toast.
I mean, I would have eaten it, but I don't know if I would have paid $8 for it.
Well, the fact that avocado toast costs $8, and that's what millennials eat, is why the economy is destroyed, and we are all the worst.
Yeah.
So.
But the cinnamon toast I had with my bacon and horseradish omelet, however, was fantastic.
Yeah, which I have to throw a big shout out to Tom, who, Zach, you had previously met at Geekway and then got to meet again when he was here. And Jeff, you got to meet for the first time. He proved your existence. He was the one who actually recommended that place, which the name I'm drawing a blank on, Cafe Camouche or something like that. I don't know. Block north of the...
A credit union, or a college union for adults. I remember
that's how it felt
subtitle.
Like. Oh, is that what it said?
That's what they're...
the cup.
Oh, yeah. I thought one of you guys just came up with that off the cuff.
No,
I'm not that smart.
Yes, so that was very largely the feel. Self-serve coffee station, kind of light breakfast, lunchy place.
It was good.
Super nice.
Yeah, and it was actually really tasty. I really liked what I had.
They were slammed, and the guy that was taking stuff was like the nicest person.
Yeah.
The second nicest person.
Well, because after breakfast, they were the nicest person up to that point.
Yes.
Then after we finished breakfast and left, we went over and we had a fantastic interview with Jamie Stegmeyer from Stonemeyer Games.
The nicest person.
Who is, yes, indeed, the nicest person that I think I've met in the hobby yet.
Yeah.
So we have a full, almost 30-minute interview with him that we actually did do audio recording for.
Yep.
That will be coming out here probably within the next week or so.
Finally, another entry into our fancy interviews series.
Yes. Even though Adrian didn't open it with fancy interviews.
Yeah,
no, because
I was really disappointed.
For one, I was,
nervous,
borderline flustered that this was one of our first really serious interviews with a very prominent person. And for two, I just even completely neglected to even consider the fact that I should have caught. It was almost immediately after I got through the introduction part of that, which you'll hear on the audio, I was in my brain, shit, this was definitely fancy interview. Yep. I should have said fancy interview. So it'll be labeled fancy interview, but yes, not mentioned. He had Charterstone there.
The only copy in existence.
Yep, along with its recharge pack. He had the the new expansion with 5 airships.
Seven
because,
factions.
Yeah, because there's 7
factions. That's right.
Now.
All 7 were there. And then he also had the new expansion for
Between Two Cities.
Yep.
Which unfortunately we didn't get to talk about because none of us have played it.
Yeah, we have no frame of reference there.
And we had enough stuff to talk about anyway. So.
Like chicken in St. Louis.
Yep.
Yeah, and hopefully we didn't spend too much time just talking to each other while he just kind of sat there and was like, oh yeah, these guys are having great banter between themselves. We tried really hard to include him in the conversation because he was the focus of the interview.
Yes.
Indeed. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he answered a bunch of different questions, gave us a little bit of a scoop on some Charterstone news, which hopefully he didn't give to anybody else so that we can be the ones to break it in like 4 days.
Well, he said it. He only got the news 30 minutes before our interview.
Yeah, so hopefully he didn't tell anyone else today.
I think we were his first official media people that got the news.
Yes.
I'm sure he shared it with no one else, especially all those people that really want to look and get Charterstone as soon as possible.
I mean, do we want to share it here?
I mean, you might as well, because
right.
it's gonna be old news.
Yeah, by the time it comes out. So you'll hear this in the interview, but we'll go ahead and break the news now. Previously, Charterstone had been roughly pushed back to December 12th.
Mid-December, yeah.
Because of some printing issues where certain cards are going to have a sticker that you peel off and place on the board, but then you're still going to use the card itself. So there's a lot of glue involved and things like that.
I think 3 layers.
And he said that at the printing factory, when they were doing the die cuts, the blades were getting really gummed up because of all that glue that they're using to build these special multi-layer cards. And they were having to spend a lot of time cleaning that off. Well, after talking to the company that's doing the production, they think they had figured out a way to do it a little bit more efficiently. And they were anticipating that they were going to be able to get them out before this holiday that's coming up in the fall in China.
October 1st.
Like the first week of October. They're like, well, everything shuts down in October. And
it's only a 1-week thing, but with the additional delays, like that was what was going to push into December. Well, now they think not only will it not take the extra few weeks, they'll actually be able to finish before the holiday, which could push the release up as soon as before Thanksgiving.
November. Maybe a whole month for the original delay.
So Charterstone should be here maybe hopefully early November rather than early December. Regardless, it should now for sure be a 2017 release before Christmas season. So
he was worried that it would push into next year.
Yeah. But now it looks like that is all cleared and and we can look for Charterstone this year, which super excited about.
We got to rifle through the box a little bit, or let him rifle through the box a little bit.
Yeah, he showed us a few different things in the rule book and a little bit about how some of the cards work and things like that.
It was really cool.
And
there's a lot of cards that come in there. There's a huge deck box.
And when he opened that box up, like everything fits so well. I'm super excited about that. Like nothing looked out of place. It didn't look like there's any extra space. Like the box you see for Charterstone, that box is packed with components.
Yep. There's like no insert. It's just boxes jammed on boxes.
Yep.
Boxes on boxes on boxes.
Yes.
So there's other stuff in that interview. You know, like that was the big scoop from it. But that'll be old news in a week.
Yep.
So we wanted to get that out to you guys. But we also talk a lot in that interview. We talk about some of the design processes behind both Scythe, Charterstone. We talk about Kickstarter things and how he got to be where he is in the hobby, and a bunch of stuff like that. So he was very accommodating. It was a great, like, first almost like really truly legitimate interview. And overall I think it went well. Obviously, like, you know,
we had to make an appointment.
We'll only get better at this kind of thing, but it was a good start, I think, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yep.
So we wrapped that.
He offered us Mountain Dews.
Yes, he did. We did not partake because we had been crushing coffees at the diner, preparing for the interview 30 minutes beforehand.
No jitters or anything from the coffee.
Oh, absolutely not.
We wrapped up that interview and we went back over to the convention hall. Stopped over at the Blood Bowl tournament for a brief little moment to check in on our friends Ant and David, both who have been on the show. Hopefully listeners are familiar with them.
Indeed.
And don't hate them too much.
Yeah. Hopefully we haven't completely inundated everybody with Blood Bowl to the point that they're ready to stab their eardrums. But
they should not, because Blood Bowl's amazing.
Yes. At the time we stopped by, the tournament was going well for them in terms of what their goals for the tournament were.
Yes.
Indeed.
They didn't care about winning so much as they had their own personal goals. Ant was going for fouls. David was going for casualties, and they were both well on their way at the point we stopped by.
Absolutely.
So we stopped in, said hi to them, dropped off some beverages, and then went and wandered around the hall some more.
We didn't go along that back wall, so I was going to be like, let's just wander that way. Then we ran into the Gamelin Games booth again. I didn't have as much opportunity to spend...
Not Gamelin. Oh yeah, Gamelin. I was thinking
Yes.
Roxley. I'm really tired.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So yes, we did stop by Gamelin to check out the Tiny Epic stuff, and
I didn't
Scott
have
Alms was there.
just hanging out.
Yep.
I didn't know who he was.
it was once
as
again.
usual, I was like,
Yeah.
"That's Scott Alms right over there."
No, this time I typed it into my phone and held it up in front of Jeff's face like I was showing him something else interesting, and it just said, "This is Scott Alms, the creator of all these games."
Yep.
I have a knack for just being able to talk to people, but having no idea who they are by face. I know the names, but then I'm just like, "Oh, hello, person. Let's
Yep.
talk about this."
Well, to be fair, I didn't recognize him by face, but I looked at his name tag that he
Yeah.
was wearing.
Oh, I saw his face and I was like, "That's Scott Alms right over there."
I have no fear because I don't know.
Right.
Which works well.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
can
why
just
you're the
stare straight
correspondent.
into the
Yeah,
abyss.
yeah.
So this is why you're the correspondent.
Yeah.
I just walk happily with a smile into the abyss.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we
The
talked-
swirling's really nice. I like it.
But they had Here's a Lancian Air.
Yes,
And so
which
I went
he-
over there, and I had seen some people looking at that a couple days ago, and I was like, oh, no one's here. I'll make him open the box so I can actually look at stuff that's in there, because someone else was looking at it before. And so he sort of pointed out things. It seems like a full production copy.
Yes.
It's-
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
That thing's fucking loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
again, that box is completely full of components.
and he had the Light and Chaos, or the Light and whatever, the expansion one that adds 5 and 6 players. That box is just as big as the base game too.
Yes.
And then both of them are very big. I was like, that's a lot of
that
space.
game, I can already tell from the components, 'cause they had it all assembled and like punched and organized. That game is going to be a bear when somebody gets it, because you're going to have to punch a whole bunch of cardboard stuff, and then you're going to have to put it all together to form little towers
And chariots.
airships and chariots and all kinds of pieces. So just set aside like a full 2 hours. Like that's its own mini dexterity game included for free in the box, is assembling everything.
Or just let me know, and I'll be like, okay, I'm on it.
So ship your copies to Zach. He will put them together and then ship them back.
I never said that.
But we passed our cards between each other.
Yep.
So maybe we could be in contact with them at some point
For
in
sure.
the future.
Yeah.
We've got a review of Tiny Epic Quest coming up at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, probably in the next cycle. So
Yeah.
So look for that.
That was just someone to run into.
Yeah, and so it was nice talking to him. We finally pulled over. I finally got to actually meet up and talk to Alex from Eagle Griffin.
Yep.
I've been running by that booth 2 or 3 times a day waiting for him to be there. He was finally there. Got to talk to him a little bit. After Paul got his great deal yesterday, when we stopped by, they had a new promo up that was buy all 3 Vital Lacerda games for $300.
And all the Kickstarter stuff. Sent that picture to Paul. I was like, you found something. You started something great, Paul.
Yeah.
He said he went by and he gave them shit about that, and he was like, dude, it was a good idea. Like, like Alex was pretty straight with him, like, yeah, that actually made a lot of sense. That was a good deal. So hopefully
They got a very nice sign printed out very
Oh, yeah,
quickly
yeah.
for that.
Yep.
So.
And this was Eagle Griffin's first time being back at GenCon in like 5 years. It was the first time since Alex kind of took over running the company. So he's looking forward to being back next year. And next year he's going to actually like step it up a bit and not be back in literally Amateur Alley,
Yep.
which is that part of the hall he was in. He'll actually be in one of the main halls and have a bigger booth and everything next year, which will be great. Maybe next year Vital will be able to come out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Maybe. He was out here for Origins. I think he really should be out here for GenCon, because we don't go to Origins, we go to GenCon.
Yes.
So.
For Amateur Alley, though, I do have to say there's a lot of like big people in there.
Oh yeah, it's
Cephala 4 had like a 5x5 booth,
yeah.
which was crazy.
Yeah, so Amateur Alley, like there's slightly smaller booth sizes, and it's a little bit cheaper, I think, to reserve a booth. But I mean, there were still some awesome companies back there.
That you like Seventh
mean,
Continent was
yeah.
in a tiny booth.
I think it goes for people because it's so far away from.
Oh, yeah, it's in the far
entrance.
back
It's the far
corner.
It's people that aren't really going like the more established companies are going to be like, well, we're not really trying to hard sell certain things, so we're okay just being in the back for right now.
Yeah.
So.
You know, are those like looking to just test the water a little bit, bring a
Exactly.
few copies of games, and just kind of show things off.
Yep.
And then there's also, I mean, there's a fair amount of legitimate
Yep.
amateurs who are like, We just want to finally have a booth at GenCon. Yep. What's the cheapest booth we can have at GenCon?
I'm looking forward to playing that Expedition game a bunch.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
So then we wandered around a bit more, checked a few things out.
We got to play Crosstalk.
Yes, from Nevo Games.
Mm-hmm.
Nevo Games?
Nevo Games.
Who produce one of our favorite games, Stockpile, which they had Stockpile and the expansion, Continuing Corruption, which is nearly a mandatory expansion. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
But they also had their new game, Crosstalk, and we got to sit down and do a little play test of that. It's a team-based word-guessing game. So
I would say it's definitely comparable to Codenames.
Yes.
In that respect, but it definitely felt like it played differently.
Yes, different mechanics, but a similar feel.
Yep.
So in this one, you still divide into 2 teams, and each team has a captain. And the 2 captains look at a clue card and either decide together which word they're going to play for, or you just toss a die and pick one of the ones based on what die number comes up. Then you have a chance to write on a dry erase board one clue, a one-word clue, to give to your team secretly. So each of the 2 teams potentially has a different one-word clue. Then there's a board in the center where the 2 captains take turns writing more one-word clues on that board for the teams to guess. But the kind of twist on this is that, say, blue team, which is Jeff and I, Jeff writes the first clue on that board. So now I get to see 2-word clues. One that he gave me secret, and then the one he just wrote. Zach gets to see the secret clue his captain gave him, plus the clue Jeff just wrote, and then Zach gets to guess first.
Yeah. So
the trick is like you want your hidden clue to be as specific as possible, but then you want your other clues to be super vague.
Oh yeah. The first round went pretty quick, but it was the Human Torch, and
It was like fire.
Which that one was funny
Man.
because both of the secret words were both fire.
Yeah.
So like Jeff gave me fire, and
then he got Marvel.
I gave Marvel.
Yeah.
Which worked because technically like no
Oh,
pronouns.
that's right.
But then he's like, well, you can use like it is, Human Torch is a Marvel too.
Yes.
And so it's like it's fine in that regard.
No, that was the funny thing because
Yeah.
My secret clue was fire, and
then
the first
Zach's
one you wrote
first
was
clue
fire.
was fire.
And then that meant you knew that he was correct.
Yes, I knew that. But that one only went like 3 because it was like fire,
Man.
and then man, and then brother, and I was like, all right, so a person that's on fire who has a brother.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Is a
that's
brother.
gotta be Human Torch, Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
And was correct.
The second one though was a lot harder.
Yes, we made it almost all the way to the end of the clue sheet,
Yeah.
giving clues back and forth before finally Jeff got it. So Jeff and I won 2-0
Yep.
Yes.
versus Zach and the guy demoing the game.
Yeah.
Brett.
Yeah. Well, and it didn't.
Brent?
It didn't help that. So the word was trapped door, and I don't know. I don't remember what you gave. He gave you
Spider.
Spider.
But the guy he gave me fall, which in context made sense of you're falling. But because of I saw fall, and the first word he gave was trick, I was like totally going in a Halloween, like haunted house.
Oh, you were thinking fall season.
Yes, because of that fall, and I was just like,
Okay, that
and I
makes more
see
sense.
trick, and that's when we go, oh, fucking Halloween.
Yeah.
But then the words that Adrian was given were not at all related, and so I was just super confused, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it was like in and hinge.
Although-
adventure.
To be fair, the same thing was
Surprise.
happening to Jeff because he saw a spider and then and then trick, and then he saw from me surprise, and so he was saying things like Jack in the Box and stuff like that.
It is really funny because when you're writing the clues, it all makes sense, but when you're trying to look at the clues, you're like, none of this makes any sense.
Well, yeah, and it's similar to like Codenames, as the captain who knows like what the other captain's trying to convey.
Yeah.
Like in this case, it's not like Codenames; you're each conveying different words. You're conveying the same word,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where you look down and you're like, literally everything on this board makes perfect sense. Why aren't you guys getting this?
But then it's also whatever. Like you're trying to figure out like what was the secret word the other guy wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had actually hit it right even before he had written the last clue, and I was like, oh, it's trapdoor.
Yeah.
Trapdoor. And then it was like trapdoor spider. Yes.
And then once you see all of the things, like it does all the pieces fit, and you're like, oh, now that I know what it was, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
So, we played that, we enjoyed it, and then you guys left to go watch Dunkirk.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I swung back over to check in on the finals for Blood Bowl.
Yep.
Which I'll let you guys come back and talk about Dunkirk here in a second. As I tell you, so I got there right towards the end of the Blood Bowl tournament, and I'm proud to say that our friends, David and Ant, both won trophies.
Trophy winners.
Two trophy winners will be driven back to Denver instead of ditched in Indianapolis as losers.
And not only did they win trophies, they won the trophies they were going for.
Wasn't first place.
It was not. In fact, Ant got dead last, and David got second to dead last.
Out of 36 players.
Yes, which meant that the last place trophy actually went to third to last, because Ant got 64 out of 64 possible fouls in the game, and David had something like 16, 17,
21.
21 casualties.
Even more.
Yeah.
21 casualties. Ant thinks he might have rivaled David for casualties if he had counted the casualties from fouling, which apparently don't quite count.
Huh.
So, the two of them just basically beat up on everybody else in the tournament.
Their secret objective was complete.
Yes, but they seem to have a fun time, and just like last year when Ant went for most fouls, nobody seemed to really take it too hard. In fact, at one point I was looking over at a game, and I think it might have been one of Ant's games, and the guy put the bare minimum 3 people on the line, and then everybody else back against the end zone.
That's pretty common for just trying not to lose guys if you're ever outnumbered, or you don't have any viable play for the next turn. Just put 3 dudes on the line, everyone else is safe. It's usually generic linemen that you just are like, because you have to have someone on the line.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't play enough Blood Bowl to know that was a somewhat common thing. To me, it looked totally like this guy was like, here's my sacrificial lambs for the foul slaughter.
Protects my good guys.
That is what you do. Just to not take casualties on more than what you need to.
Okay.
Unless they can do a 1-turn touchdown, and then there's other setups. But
yeah. But yeah, so they both accomplished their goals. Ant
absolutely
was happy. He said, third successful year of drunk/exhausted/hungover Blood Bowl.
Yes.
And
I think
still mostly accomplishing his goals in the tournament.
I think some double skull Doppelbach made its way into that tournament.
Oh yes, there was a decent amount of. I saw a couple going on there, getting passed around. Yeah. So they had a good Blood Bowl tournament.
Yeah. There were some people with some amazing miniatures there, too.
Oh, yeah. And then you guys went and saw Dunkirk in IMAX.
70mm IMAX.
I had intended to join, but...
You wanted to actually play board games at this board game convention?
Yes.
Like a loser.
Which actually didn't end up happening. I skipped the movie to play board games and then still didn't play any board games until after the movie was over and you guys were back.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But how was the movie?
It was good. I did enjoy watching it. It's definitely...
worth watching in 70mm IMAX.
Yeah, oh, totally, 100%. The first time, like, literally the first scene that you see...
First time color comes on the screen.
And you're just, all of us were just like...
Holy shit.
Holy shit, because it is just fill out and it's super bright. Now, I would say about 70 to 80% of the movie... closer to 80% of the movie is in IMAX. And apparently I was the only one that noticed when it went back down the regular format.
You could... Black bars will come on there at some points. I never noticed that at any point during the movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I noticed that, and then also the colors are less bright, too.
Okay.
But it was definitely worth seeing for that. The soundtrack, or, the soundtrack was really good.
Hans Zimmer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And they definitely conveyed, like, the horror of certain types of war. Like, when there's at one point, I get spoilers for the beginning of the movie. Everyone's on a beach, and then one of the German ships come to attack it, and the way that the sound
aircraft, German aircraft,
yes,
the Stuka,
yes. When it came to drop bombs, there was a scene where it was just like like you see all these bombs dropping, and you're just like, it gets louder and louder.
It's like,
and the camera is just staying there, and you're just like, oh God, are we?
it's like 12. It's just boom, 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 and just like, there's no real gore or anything. It's not like Saving Private Ryan, people getting like fucking ripped apart or anything like that by machine gun fire. It's just like tense and brutal and like depressing. Like you're stuck on this beach waiting to get back, and then the movie's basically, we need to get our way onto a ship to get the fuck out of here. Oh, it sunk and we escaped. All right, let's get another ship. Oh, it sunk and we escaped. Oh, let's get another ship. Oh, that one sunk too. Oh, we're also on fire. That's basically the movie. But yeah, it was good. It's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
No.
I don't think I know a single name of a single character in that entire movie because no one ever.
I mean, but you didn't need to know.
The script for that movie is about 1 page of dialogue over an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
Very little talking.
It felt like an art house movie on a blockbuster budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was definitely worth seeing. Look, definitely, if you do want to see it in the theater. It sucks if you can't see it in IMAX 70mm. But don't be like, I'm going to watch it on my iPad. That is...
You'll lose so much of that movie. There's a reason he meant it to be watched in 70mm IMAX.
Yeah, too bad there's only like 20 of those in the entire country.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Nolan, on your dream not being realized by the majority of people who saw your
Also,
movie.
this theater plays nothing but Christopher Nolan movies, like when there's not something fancy out. It was like Interstellar, Batman Dark Knight, Batman Dark Knight Rises, Dunkirk, and that was like it.
Gotcha.
And then, like, IMAX movies museums play about tornadoes and shit.
Yeah. So round about the time that, so a little bit before you guys were probably done with the movie, after I checked in with Ant and everybody, I helped them get Pandemic set up. Pandemic. But then I left with Paul and Wesley, and we went back over to Lucas Oil Stadium and found an open table and got Whistle Stop to the table. And the game is really good.
That's the one from Bezier Games,
yes,
right?
that's
Okay.
one of Bezier Games' new hotnesses.
It reached number 1
on the hotness list on Board Game Geek. Yep.
I bet that gave you a train stiffy.
Yes, yes, it did. So it's not a train game in the sense of the train games that you guys like to give me shit about. Like, it's not like an Age of Steam or an 18XX.
But it's a train game like Ticket to Ride. It's a train game. It's about trains.
Yes. The theme is definitely trains and crossing the country on trains. It's a train game with Euro mechanics, more or less. So there's a lot of tile laying. You build a little border out of some connecting pieces, and then you lay some starting tiles on one side, some ending tiles on the other, and then a strip of special tiles in the middle. And then beyond that, on your turn, you move your trains, and if your trains ever go off a track or into empty space, you have a hand of 3 tiles at any given time. You play a tile into that space and keep moving along, and you stop at various stops along the way. Certain stops give you resources. Those can only hold 1 person each, so there's an element of blocking there. You can block up a track by just camping on one of those smaller stops. Bigger special tile stops can hold any number of people and have entrances and exits out of all sides, and have special abilities like get any 1 resource cube of your choice, or trade resource cubes in such and such manner. And then there's certain city stops where you can turn in a couple resources to get a stock certificate based on that city and an amount of points, and you just work your way across the board, laying tiles and track. And then when you get over to the final side of the board, as your trains hit that final side, they score some points, and the game ends when either the turn track runs out or when one player gets all 5 of their trains across the board, which in our game, both of those happened on the same turn.
Gotcha.
Paul was the first player, and on the last turn, as he handed out the last turn marker stuff, and that was the last round, he was the first player, and he got all 5 of his off that round. So regardless of which of the conditions triggered it, they both triggered on Paul's turn.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He ended up beating me by 6 points It was an incredibly close game. And right at the
What's
end...
the scale on points?
So it was 166 to 160 to 116.
Okay. So everybody was sixes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard.
So right towards the end on Paul's last turn, he was complaining. He was like, "Oh, you're going to win, Adrian. You're going to win."
That just gave him that 6-point edge.
Which gave him why he would win. And then I very foolishly went, "Well, why don't you do this thing that's going to get you 4 points?"
Okay, I don't feel bad for you now.
And then he was like, "Oh, well, I'm definitely going to do that now." And he's like, "I hope I beat you by exactly 4 points." And when we totaled, I originally mistotaled, and it looked like he was going to beat me by 3.
Oh.
And then like we worked back, and it was like, well, he beat me by 3, and if I hadn't told him that, he would have tied with me. But then I had the tiebreaker, so I would have won. But then I realized I mistold my score by 1 point, so he would have won regardless. And he was like, "Oh, well, that's so much less satisfying if I would have beat you no matter what." Like, and you didn't throw away the game, but. It was a bunch of fun. I really enjoyed it.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an open hex board.
Played in like less than 2 hours. Open hex board, lots of hex tile placement.
You like fill in the map.
Yeah, as you play. And it doesn't all get filled in, but enough of it does.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool looking board.
Yeah. I enjoyed it a whole lot. Want to get myself a copy when it comes back in stock at some point.
Yeah. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After we finished that up, Mayfair kicked us off the tables because they had very important Mayfair games that needed to be played.
I'm sure they were totally empty for the rest of the night.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But we left and came back and met up with you guys back over at Pandepic.
Yep.
And
so in
hung out
between,
over there.
while you were playing
Whistle
Stop, we went to the Secret Cabal meetup.
Yes.
After the Pandepic had started up. I seeded the board to totally fuck everyone over as the bioterrorist helper person, and then handed it off to David so we could meet up at the Secret Cabal thing.
Yes.
It was at the Tow Yard Brewery, which is half a mile from the convention center, somewhere around there.
Couple-minute walk. Wasn't bad. As we got over there, we noticed the holy fuckloads amount of people that were there.
Correct.
Oh my god.
Yes.
The line went down the block to get in. We met Ambi, again from Board Game Blitz. Said hello to them.
Yep.
Wait, Ambi or Cassidy?
Ambi.
Okay.
Ambi.
They had they bought a prototype of 18 CLE.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they tried it and then got it on the cheat because it was a prototype.
It was like the demo version they had brought or something.
Nice.
It was about like public transportation trams in Cleveland, Ohio,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, so
19th century.
CLE's got some interesting mechanics where like you start off as private companies building these tracks, but then the city can take over and stuff like that. I don't know a lot about it, but
it looked like it was in a shoebox.
oh yeah. Pretty standard 18XX fare there.
Okay. So they talked about that for a while, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
That's an 18XX ass game.
Yep.
So we finally made our way through the line, saw a bunch of other famous board gamey people.
Yep. Surrounded by fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was always just like I remember seeing Z Garcia from Dice Tower, and it's like he had like 2 or 3 people, and it was like, oh, that's cool. And look away to look at someone else. I look back, there's 6 or 7 now. I looked away, I looked back, and there's like 9 or 10. It's like, okay, well that avenue's closed, and then like we saw Jamie from the Secret Cabal, and the same, like basically it just as more and more people started arriving, it started swarming the more podcasty people, and it was just like, well, I'm not really gonna get a chance to talk to them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we waited in line to get in and see what the to-do was inside. It turned into a Lodo ass shoulder to shoulder holy shit nightmare of 5 people deep bars. There was at least 6 serving stations, all 4 people deep. They had a $20 wristband that you could get like a buffet of pizza rolls and fries and stuff, which I'm sure
Sounds worth it.
It seemed like there was other stuff too, like meatballs, you know, but whatever.
It
was moist in there.
Moist.
Was it the gamer funkiest part?
No.
of it?
It was just so many people
And
in a brewery, and it was just hot. And
you could feel the people.
Yes. Like we were in there for about a minute, just looking around, and I was just like,
I don't want to wait in
I want to
line.
go outside now.
Yeah.
I am so glad I didn't go.
Yeah.
They were doing raffles and stuff like that. We made it back outside. There was a tent outside that had just a tiny line, and by the time we had made it back outside, it was like, oh, that line is massive now.
Yeah.
So we ditched that.
About 40 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah, just
There were a lot of, it was just, it definitely seemed like one for the fans.
Stephen Bonacore was waiting at the entrance to the Yard House and just shaking hands with everyone that was there as well. So that was cool. We were like, oh yeah, we did the Pandemic thing and gave you a beer.
You can see the look of like, oh yeah, and then he goes, yeah, we gave you a beer, and he's like, oh, I always love it when people give me beer.
Yeah. So after that, I found my drink tickets from Sun King's beer garden. So we went there, and I was like, I'll get us 2 beers. Went in through there and chit chatted with some of the Sun King people, how we brought them beer, etc.
And then we went to go sit down.
We're like, let's go sit down, and because we hadn't done that in like hours.
Yeah.
And then on a table was just a game of Clask, and we're like, oh, that's weird. And so we were just like, no one's playing. Let's play Clask.
There were people around it, but their backs were turned and talking. And then we started playing, and then their backs turned around, and they have shirts that say Clask on them. And
like, oh, you have clearly brought Clask.
Yep. Played a game.
Yeah.
You lost.
I did. The table wasn't well balanced.
Excuses.
A little slopey.
Towards me.
Yeah. Left.
You left, yes.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I always get to
kept hitting the fucking little white things at me.
Yeah,
they were not attaching. You just be like, bah! Fucking like hit him like the ball at me, and I was like, you bitch.
It was great because somebody else watched it, and she was just like, oh, look what he's fucking doing. And I was like, yeah, damn straight I am.
And then someone was like, you've played this game before.
Oh, you're like, yeah.
And then we talked to Brett or someone like that.
Shit, yeah.
He was he was like one of the game masters or something that was been working at the booth, and we were just chit-chatting with him for a while. It's like about the game night and how Class is really popular. We just got Bonk. We really like that one. I think I was talking to him. I was like, yeah, I bought it for a friend, and it's like $60, but I got it on sale or something. And he was like, oh yeah, it's totally $10 off now. Yeah. And I was like, and then that's when I noticed the shirt, and I was like, Clask, now that's why I know.
Yeah.
But then the creator of Clask was there, designer. He was the tall Dutch blonde guy. He was chatting with some other people from.
Was his name Mikhail? And it's just like, yes, that sounds right.
Dutch to me. Yeah. He was talking with some guys that looked businessy. One was from Project Raygun. They did the thing Outpost, whatever, with Mondo
and USAopoly.
USAopoly. USAopoly's, I don't know, enthusiast. Please don't think of us as USAopoly developers.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
We just said hello, and we're like, oh yeah, we love your game, and we bring in game night, and shook hands. Cool. It seemed like they were all enjoying their drinks that evening.
Yeah.
Having a good time post-convention that day.
Cool.
We might see them tomorrow. Just they have like a tournament going on in the event center. He was like, oh, come on by. We're doing a bonk tournament. And we're like, all right.
Cool.
Yeah, so we met the developer of Clask.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then by that time we pretty much all met back up over at Pandemic and hung out there while they played a couple more games.
I ended up coming into a game as well. I think my streak of ruining everyone at Pandemic continues. Literally, the deck of cards I have nothing to do with what actually happens. Everyone just is apparently losing while I play.
While they were playing, Zach, you, me, and David played some number 9.
Yep.
That was your second time playing it after you beat me earlier today at it.
Yep.
I won this one, but what do you think of that one so far?
I definitely enjoy it more than like Dimension, but it's definitely a game, and obviously you can see
definitely a game.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Through the mechanics, you can see that it is definitely everybody sort of does their own thing, and then at the end of the game, who did it better?
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a lot of cursing at ourselves because then you're just like, all right, as long as a 5 doesn't come up, I'm okay. Oh, it's a 5. Son of a bitch. And you're trying to figure out some way to place it.
That was my entire Tiny Epic Western life.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Yes, it was. But it's I've slightly warmed to it now.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to own it, but if you're like, Zach, would you like to play at number 9? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm fine doing that.
I mean, you've only destroyed the insert, so...
Yes.
Yeah, after we got done playing, I was like, you know what? Fuck this insert. I'm tired of it. And I was like, Zach, make this insert go away.
And
He's like, do you want me to get rid of it with extreme prejudice? And I was like, yes. And he went, and quote of the con, how do I get rid of this with extreme prejudice?
And I just thought about it for like 20 or 30 seconds, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I just grabbed it from both sides and just started ripping it in half.
I look forward to playing the game. It looks real cool.
And then, Jeff, we got you playing some Climbers for the first time?
Yes, Climbers. It's been... everyone has been obsessed with that this whole...
Our group's bought like 4 or 5 copies.
GenCon.
Easily the most purchased game in our group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I haven't had much time to play games. I think the first game I played outside of demos and stuff was Climbers.
Yeah.
No, it was Clask before Climbers.
Oh, Clask. Yes, I played Clask at the beer tent.
Yep.
So that was my first game. Climbers was my second game of the convention.
We played Crosstalk.
I mean,
Not
outside
demos.
of demos.
Outside of demos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On my own ass time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, what'd you think?
Climbers real good.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Very strategic, tactical, fucking over other players.
All correct.
Player interaction is important.
Yes.
Some of the rules seem to have gotten kind of, I don't know, fiddly is the right word, but like if you miss this little word in this rulebook, then it's like, oh, if you can move up on your next turn, you can.
A couple entire lines were clearly missed in the
original
rules teaching from Paul. I blame Paul. Bullshit, Paul.
Bullshit, Paul.
But yeah, so we played that a couple times, and then everybody finished up Pandemic. We packed it up, we came here, and we recorded an episode. And I'm pretty sure that at this point, everybody else is asleep inside. It is 3:33 a.m.
That seems like a perfect time to end.
Which makes this officially the latest I've been up the entire con. And tomorrow we start our drive back to Denver. So,
or Columbia, Missouri.
So expect...
Well, towards Denver, yes. We're not getting all the way to
Denver.
Denver tomorrow.
Expect a lot of pictures of Adrian being asleep.
Correct. Oh, yeah. Gonna sleep a whole lot. Just a heads up for everybody who has hopefully listened to at least this one of the GenCon recaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't listen to this, it's going to go on deaf ears.
Yeah.
So.
We were originally planning when we got back on Monday of still doing a regular full series of episodes.
Oh, boy.
That has officially been scrapped. We are exhausted. We are thoroughly tired, and we're not getting back till late.
Like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. late or something like that. So.
Hopefully at best.
Yeah.
It's not like I have to go to work at 8 a.m. on Tuesday.
Yeah, so there's not going to be...
It's got to go to work at 5 a.m. on Tuesdays.
So there's not going to be an official regular episode, but like we've mentioned in some of these recap episodes, we have audio from a few different interviews that we did, and so I'm going to do just the bare minimum kind of editing and a little bit of intro and outro stuff for those and kind of get those ready for you guys and put those out for Wednesday and Friday. So there will still be episodes, they just won't be our normal episodes. But we will be back and at it the following week with a top 10 episode.
Mm-hmm.
Content.
Yeah. And that will kick off the next kind of segment of 10 episodes, which will include, for sure, Lisboa, Tiny Epic Quest, and, a few other games that we've got some review copies of, and then we've got some copies of our own from GenCon that we're really looking forward to get played and reviewed. So... keep an ear out for all of that stuff, and we will have more information for y'all later. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is officially the longest of the recap episodes, and
which we hoped would be the shortest.
and was not.
I don't know. I have no idea why you guys keep expecting. You're like, this... Every time Adrian is like, this is going to be the short one.
the more tired I am, the more rambly we get, apparently. So.
He got real pumped about things, so he just keeps talking.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed these. We'll have more content for you coming up in the near future, and take care. Thanks for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I am Avocado Toast Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.